It's Judd's Hockey Show.
And welcome into Judd's Hockey Show from the XL Energy Center. It's Judd, it's AJ, here to discuss a disastrous Wild homestand. 5-game homestand comes to a conclusion with a 2-1 loss to the Utah Yeti tonight, which is what they will be called. I'm almost certain of that. 5-game homestand. The Wild loses in regulation 4 of them. They're 1-4 on a 5-game homestand. Prior to Wednesday against Florida, they had not lost consecutive games in regulation all season. They have now lost 3 consecutive games in this losing streak and in regulation, and a trip coming up to play the Winnipeg Jets. Plenty to get to. Some interesting comments already. I do not blame you people for being upset, but you know what? Before we start to talk about what transpired here tonight at the X, because that is sure to ruin your appetite, I want to tell you about a place where your appetite could definitely be satisfied, and that is right down the street from where AJ and I are right now, West 7th Street to be exact. Parlor Bar, a perfect spot to stop before a Wild game. Before they ruin your night, you know what? Parlor Bar is going to make your night absolutely outstanding. Open 4 to 10 p.m. Monday and Tuesday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Wednesday through Sunday. A great brunch. Who does not love a good brunch? And also a special game day menu available Wednesday, or I'm sorry, 3 hours. So a special game day menu available 3 hours before Wild games. Ideal spot for a pregame meal or a family gathering. In fact, the wife and I are going to be at Parlor before the New Year's Eve game against the Nashville Predators, who hopefully the Wild can beat, because if you can't beat the Preds, probably should throw in the towel. All right, let's get to it, H. Your thoughts on the fact that the Wild is now 8-7-1 at home, 12-2-3 on the road. This team, came into a 5-game homestand, not world beaters at home, but, they are now NHL 1 game above 500. Your thoughts on what we saw here and really the entire homestand?
I mean, we talked about this the other night, but I know they're hurt. I know they're banged up and they're missing guys, but Judd, this is unacceptable. Like, this is just abysmal performance. This looks like a team that has nowhere near sniffed the top of a division, let alone the top of the standings of the entire league. They play sloppy. They can't do anything on special teams, whether it's win a face-off, whether it's, set up the offensive zone on the power play. We saw small stints of that, but then it ends up sometimes ending with the self-clear of the far, high-angle shot that misses the net, wraps around the boards, and they exit themselves. This is terrible. You had a 5-game homestand. You come away with 1 win. Most of the teams that you played were rather competitive, or like teams you would expect to see in the playoffs. You didn't look that great against really any of them. Tonight, I mean, it was just a kind of a tug of war that was really, frankly, ugly hockey. Like, for the people that maybe are listening or watching that attended this game, you should be able to file a claim somewhere to try to get some sort of reimbursement, because tonight was not professional hockey. This was Utah playing expansion team, and they're not an expansion team, but they looked like one today, because their games are very gritty, grindy. We're just going to get through 60 minutes, and if we win 2-1, you know what? That's a victory for us. The Wild, once again, didn't play their game, and I think that was the story of this 5-game homestand. The Minnesota Wild at home kept adapting to the teams that they played rather than play Minnesota Wild hockey that we've seen so far this season, and that's why you only win 1 out of 5 instead of potentially 3 or 4.
Yeah, let's get into it, too, because the fact is you're right. Some guys are out, and Joel Eriksson Ek being out hurts. But the Wild has not gotten, and tonight again, and they juggled it. So Ryan Hartman, who had a terrible game on Wednesday, at which he reverted to the guy that takes dumb penalties, and he's mad. He had been the second-line center. He's demoted to the third-line wing. God bless him. Freddie Gaudreau comes up to the second-line center, which he has no business being a top 6 guy. And the reality is this, Age, and I've got a great stat here in a second to share it with you in the audience, but the reality is they got nothing again tonight from the second, third, and fourth lines. Now, the fourth line is a collection of guys from the Iowa Wild, so I get that, okay? But Matt Boldy again, we've talked about this for now a week. He's reaching. He's not effective. I finally said I told you this in the press box in the third period. I hate to reward him. I would have moved him up for Zuccarello on the first line just to give him a spark. Kirill Kaprizov looks tuckered. And again, I'm sure when we get the sheet for ice time tonight, it's going to be through the bleeping roof. But let me give you a tweet that I saw from Dylan, who does a nice job covering both Gopher hockey and also covers the Wild for the hockey news. Okay, he tweeted in the third period, "It has been 13 periods since the Wild have scored a goal without Kirill Kaprizov on the ice. At that time, 10:04 left in the third against Utah. It could become 14 by the end of tonight." Well, it's 14 now. So, this is not just an eye test thing. This is really what's happening. You're getting nothing, and I'm sorry, man. That second line, you've got Boldy there. I'm not a Johansson guy, but I mean, he is getting paid. And as I told you, between the second and third, are you telling me that Matt Boldy can't drive a line? Are you saying if it's not Hartman or Gaudreau, that second line, it's hopeless? Matt Boldy can't drive a line? Just an incredibly frustrating thing. Yes, Eriksson Ek is important, but everyone has injuries. And this team was far too good 2 weeks ago to now be like, well, we've lost some guys. That's it. And I feel like we're creeping into that's the excuse. And John Hines, to his credit, postgame Wednesday, did not use that excuse. But I feel like once they get guys back, well, yeah, you can lose games, but the eye test, you're failing it miserably. You've got to do more. You're going to play the Jets tomorrow. This was an important game to get a couple points tonight. You're going to play the Jets tomorrow. Who's going to carry you then? And if Kirill looked tired, I thought Kirill looked fairly tired on Wednesday and tired tonight. So tomorrow he's going to be fresh. I've got a lot of complaints about the complete lack of production from guys who are very capable of producing when they want to, and I don't really understand why we're talking about this again with Boldy, who I felt like, as you said on a JHS this week, we had sort of gotten past that point. Well, clearly we have not. End of rant. Take over.
I think it's ridiculous to think that this team's depth production that we saw for the first month or two this season is solely dependent on one guy being named Joel Eriksson Ek. He's great. He is a glue guy for this team. He is a great all-around player. He's a good top or second line center, and he's shown that. But him being in the lineup should not be the hinge on whether or not a Matt Boldy or a Marcus Johansson is able to make that second line any sort of threat. We're back to what we saw, I think, last season, which is it's the Kirill Kaprizov line where it's him and Zuccarello and whoever's centering right now. Today it's Marco Rossi, and they're generating the offense. And hey, every time they're out there, they got to make magic happen. And every other guy, the other 9 forwards, hey, we're just out here, guys. These are some pretty damn good seats. We're on the bench and everything. It's awesome. We get to see 97 play. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Play your role. Matt Boldy, you have to be better. Marcus Johansson, you drew a penalty tonight. Fantastic. There was some other stuff that I wish you could have done that is as simple as just driving your shoulder down and pushing your way towards the net. Ryan Hartman, oh my goodness. I mean, a demotion to the third line, put back on the wing, I think rightfully so. And what we saw from Freddie Gaudreau tonight, this is what I said, and I know you agree with me on this. He tries, he works his butt off. I think you could say as hard as anybody in the league, the skill is just not there. But I think that's just how big of an indictment Ryan Hartman's play has been over the past couple of games since being elevated to try to fill that second line center role. Somebody has to step up. Matt Boldy is the first guy I'm looking at because he has the skill. We know it. We've seen it. He can do it. Yeah. Why we haven't seen it on this 5-game homestand is beside me. Ryan Hartman, you have been the top line center for this team at one point. You've been a second line center for this team at one point. You had a season that it looked like you exceeded all expectations, and this organization was, I mean, just like getting you was a diamond in the rough in that trade. I want to say with the Philadelphia Flyers at one point. I'm irate right now.
Yep. No, I think you're right. Yep.
This is incredible. This depth that we have seen it's gone. It's gone. This is the team that, and I can't remember who said it, but this is, I think, a couple people actually. This is the team that I thought, maybe you thought as well, we were expecting in preseason. They blew those expectations out of the water. The bar has now been raised very, very high. This is unacceptable. This 5-game set is unacceptable to pick up only one win, and it's against the Philadelphia Flyers. That is terrible.
Yep. Let's talk about Hartman again. So I'm looking at the game notes right here, which have him. So he missed from October 19th to October 29th. It looks like he missed 5 games because of injury. At that point, he had 2 goals. Since he came back, he has 2 goals. That's in about 20 plus. That's 20 plus games. He has not scored a goal since November 19th at St. Louis. He has not had a point. Let's see here. I'm trying to find it. He has not had a point since November 21st against Edmonton. I don't know what you do. He's frustrated, and when he gets frustrated, he just does dumb things. It is that. I mean, that is a massive problem for a guy that you signed to an extension. And that was, at the time, that was one of the extensions that we questioned. There are some guys that got extensions who deserved it. You didn't have to give that entire group extensions. And Ryan Hartman, I mean, that lack of point production is absolutely, 14 straight games, Jeremy, thank you, is absolutely inexcusable. I also want to talk about, we might as well talking about this 2-1 loss to the Utah Hockey Club, rip the Band-Aid off on special teams, because special teams has now, it's circling the drain both on the PK, which cost them again tonight, and the power play. Let's talk about the power play first, okay? So your power play, Age, on this 5-game homestand again, Oilers, Flyers, Knights, Panthers, and Utah. 2 goals in 12 opportunities. They scored a goal against the Oilers a week ago Thursday. They scored a goal on Wednesday against the Florida Panthers. Other than that, tonight, 0 for 5. Against the Panthers, 1 for 2. Against the Knights, 0 for 1. Against the Flyers, 0 for 1. Against the Oilers, 1 for 3. And, I mean, tonight, I think if you're going to look for, 2-1 loss, why did they lose the game? Because I didn't think there was, any egregious... I mean, the second goal on Fleury didn't look great. I've not gone back. I couldn't find it immediately to go back and watch it. But I don't think there was any, egregious breakdown. It's 2-1. I mean, 2-1 is 2-1. It was just as you said. It's a game that the Utah Hockey Club is very happy to play. But if you're looking for a reason why the Wild lost, 0 for 5 against Utah on the power play jumps right off the page.
Yeah, the special teams, Judd, has been catastrophic here recently. I mean, I don't want to focus on just one thing and keep doing it, because I know people do get sick of it. I get sick about talking about it, but it is such a blatant issue.
Well, the power play is fairly new. We're going to the penalty kill. That's beating a dead horse, but it's an important horse to beat.
But the thing that both of those have in common is that opening face-off. And it seems like the Wild just cannot figure it out. It's like putting a Rubik's Cube in front of them, tying both hands behind their back and blindfolding it and say, you know what? Solve it. They just can't figure it out. And you and I have seen throughout this game tonight multiple Utah HC face-off wins where they're doing the nitty-gritty, ugly, dirty win of pretty much, hey, center, don't even care about the puck. You are tying up the guy across from you, and a wing's going to come in, or the defenseman who's on the half wall is going to come in. And it works. It works. It's that simple. And for some reason, the Wild just, I don't know, can't figure it out, can't get on the same page about it. The zone entry, I want to say, for the power play actually felt half decent tonight. That's maybe the one bright spot I'll give to them. But the spacing on the first 2 in the first period was just really, really bad. It seems like nobody was on the same page. They kind of were tripping over each other. The positioning I also thought was weird. And I know we sort of talked about that while it was happening. Kirill Kaprizov being put in that kind of bumper roll in that middle. I would expect him to be on the far side, as Alex Ovechkin has not made his career, but he's got his office face-off dot on the offhand so he can do one-timers. I expect the Wild to sort of do the same thing with Kirill, because he has the playmaking that opts for him to be able to swing down low and create opportunities, or let that beautiful shot fly. He's not there right now. I don't understand that as much. I know you do have the lefty and Matthew Boldy, but he was also on the normal left wing side, so right. On his strong hand. The positioning just feels very odd, and maybe they are just trying new things. If that's the case, it didn't work tonight. Something has to be done, because this power play, especially the top unit, is simply too skilled to have this lack of success.
Yeah, it feels like they are overthinking it. It feels like there's not a lot of instinctual play. Sebastian sends a note that says 30% face-off win percentage. Not much more to say than that. Yeah, and look, let's get to it now. The penalty kill. The penalty kill is another problematic area. So tonight, the Utah team was actually 0 for 2 on the power play until they got their third power play in the third period, and of course, this turns into the game-winning goal by Gunther at 10:01 of the third, and it comes off a face-off. Hustadinov loses the face-off, and it is the second power play goal scored against the Wild in this homestand that came 4 seconds into a power play. 4 seconds in, bang, bang, you're dead. Let's go through the penalty kill in this homestand. Edmonton, 2 of 4, so they scored twice. Flyers, we go Saturday, 0 for 3. Okay. The Knights, 1 power play, 1 goal. The Panthers, 2 power plays, 1 goal. Tonight, Utah, 3 power plays, 1 goal. 5 power play goals against, 13 opportunities. So let's review why the Wild just went 1 and 4 on this homestand. Minnesota, power play, 2 of 12. Opponents, 5 of 13. And here's the problematic thing, Age. So the Wild was being praised. Their penalty kill has struggled pretty much all year. But where they were drawing praise was, hey, they're not taking a ton of penalties, right? So and yes, Tyler, at least the Vikings are 12 and 2. Thank God. Purple Daily is nothing but positivity right now. But anyway, the whole theme was, well, at least the Wild's not taking a ton of penalties. So there's not a lot of chances. They didn't take a ton of penalties in 5 games. They just managed to give up at least 1 goal in 4 of the 5 games, Age. So the power plays for the opponents, starting with the Oilers, 4, 3, 1, 2, 3.
That seems like you should be able to survive. And I'm not asking it to be perfect. Before the season, you, myself, and Jesse, we had our kind of pre-season, hey, let's give a couple takes and see. I was very, very confident in saying that I thought this penalty killing unit, with the coaching they brought in, with all of the hands on the clay, molding it and working on it, the goaltending being better, that this penalty kill would get up to 80%. And 80% is not elite, right? I think right now that gets you into the top 10, but it probably also has you tied for maybe 11th, 12th, almost 13th, if it's the last time I checked, still accurate. That's just good. That's above average to pretty good. What we're seeing here is just, and the 4 seconds in, I can understand that once in a while you have a good team. The Oilers, you've got two of the 3 best players in the world on that team. I'm going to understand if they get one past you, but this is a theme. You are losing a face-off. They're going D to D, and they're walking into your slot, your kitchen. They're walking into your bedroom and they're taking the sheets off your bed, Judd. And they're just scoring on you in a matter of 4, 5, 13 seconds. It's crazy that it's a theme. It is a consistent thing. Something has to be fixed. Something has to be addressed. This cannot continue. You're muted right now, Judd.
Thank you. Sorry about that. I saw a comment a second ago, and it's accurate, but it's part of the problem. Lauko has played well. He's hurt. He's hurt for a second time. He is a PK guy. Trennan is too, okay? But are you telling me no one else can kill a penalty? Are you telling me nobody else is capable of killing a penalty? Trennan and Lauko, yeah, they're fine, but they're 3rd and 4th line guys. You don't have anyone else who's a 3rd and 4th line guy who can step up and avoid. And this does start I think we can trace 3 to 4. I think it's 3 of the goals against the power play goals. So 3 of the 5 by opponents. Age, we can trace directly to lost faceoffs. So yes, look, the Wild hit 3 posts, right? Crossbar posts. They had some bad luck, but you also make your own luck. and you're going to have guys hurt. And the reality is, like, this team, and okay, they overachieved, but this team was playing really good, sound hockey. They were playing how John Hines wanted, and now you've lost some guys, and you just can't kill a penalty. Like, I refuse. Yes, you hit posts. That's too bad. But the reality is, these cannot. If you're going to be a good team, these cannot be the excuses. Like, I know you're going to be fed them by the network that carries Wild games. I know there's going to be narratives that they try to say it wasn't that bad, but the reality is no. Like, this is very, very frustrating to watch because this team should have more. And we had talked about the depth, and I'm sorry, but thank you, Ken. It's not delivering. It's not delivering, and it's just incredibly frustrating to watch. And as far as the bring Ogren up, I know Bill Guerin was on with Chad Hartman on CCO. I think he makes a weekly appearance there, and he said that Ogren is playing well, but they would bring Ogren up when they felt he was ready. My guess there, and we've talked about this, and it's probably time, but my guess with that one is they want him to be a top 6 guy. But I'm going to tell you right now, I can find room for him there. Number 90 can play third line. Like, you're never going to get a consistent effort from that dude. You're never going to. So are you telling me, well, Ogren, we don't want to play him top 6 here because we have Marcus Johansson? Like, now is the time to make the move. And late in tonight's game, on that second line, Foligno replaced Johansson for a reason. So, all right, if you want Ogren to play top 6, I got your chance right now. Yeah, and 12. Boldy's a whole nother thing. Urban, I am not. I don't know what to say anymore about him. I don't know what to say. I thought we were past this, and we're not. And yes, Nathan's right. Ogren can't be worse. And I feel no loyalty. If I'm John Hines, if I'm Bill Guerin, I feel no loyalty to JoJo.
There should be none
at all. So yeah, this is not going well right now. You're going to Winnipeg. And you're not only going to play a Jets team that's damn good, but you're probably going to do it with, pray for him, Jesper Wallstedt in goal, because Fleury played tonight. So I think what you were doing is, I think that you were basically saying, as you told me, and you're right, that they perceived Amar to be a schedule loss, so you might as well put Fleury in goal tonight to get the 2 points. But the unfortunate thing is you got a big goose egg in points tonight.
And I'm going to go back real quick and talk about, and maybe expand on your point about making your own luck. They did that, I think, to an extent against the Flyers on this very homestand. Think about that first goal that's opened the game for scoring. It was put off the back of Erson's head. Like, Kirill Kaprizov made luck and willed that team to a victory, the only one of this homestand. I get that, teams get in a slump, and you're going to have a little luck here and there to pick up wins. But you needed luck tonight to try to score a second goal against Utah. Keep in mind, this was a team in Arizona last season playing in Mullet Arena. This is not a world-beating hockey team.
They did improve. They're spending a little bit more now. But yeah, the product that we saw tonight reminded me of the nails on a chalkboard early 2000s.
But I look at this.
So I agree with your point.
And I look at this roster, like this lineup sheet for Utah. There's a lot of names that obviously I do know. There's a lot of names where if I could play a game with casual hockey fans and Michael Carcone, pizza chain restaurant owner or hockey player?
Oh, pizza for sure.
Pizza for sure. Only because it sounds pretty close to Carboni's. This team doesn't have the makeup to where it's like a competitive, playoff contending, deep push type of hockey team. The game they play tonight is their identity. And granted, they played it a heck of a lot better than anything the Wild did tonight. So credit to them because they earned those 2 points fair and square.
Yep.
But the Wild, luck is one thing and making your own luck is one thing, but you do need to somehow bump out of this rut because at a certain point, they are on paper more skilled, even when hurt, I think. that top six is better than I think anything.
They have the best player on the ice.
Yeah, they do. And that's the thing. You have the best player on the ice. You have to make something of it. And he had I think the primary assist on the team's lone goal. And Dylan's point that you brought up, I think at the top or pretty close to the top of the show rings true.
Yep.
They don't have anybody else really doing much like when he's off the ice. 26-37, and I think somebody had it well before we got the final stats for the night, but 26-37 was time on ice for Kirill Kaprizov tonight.
Yeah.
That shows how bad John Hines thought they needed to win this game, because tomorrow he's not touching 24. That 26 is long gone. 24 is a pipe dream. If he gets to 22, I'd be shocked.
He's looked tired the last two games to me. I thought Wednesday something seemed off a bit, and which by the way does not mean that he can't make a great play or two. Like he's a different human. So I'm not saying that he can't play well, can't make an impressive play, but the last two nights or last two games, especially tonight, I think he looks tired. And part of the problem is exactly what you just said. And AJ, I mean, you predicted this for the Golden Knights game, right? That Kirill was going to come back that game and play a boatload, and he did. And then he played on Wednesday, and he looked tired, and tonight he still looked tired. And like you just said, he played 26-37 tonight. He played more. He had more ice time than anyone on the team, including Brock Faber, who is a minutes-eating cookie monster defenseman.
The only player with more time on ice than him tonight was Mikhail Sergachev, the standout defender, cup winner for Utah. Not with them, obviously, but 29-15 for him. That's a workload. That's another Russian that works hard and just has an engine. Kirill Kaprizov putting up 26-37 is just insanity. After he put up, I think it was 28-03 this past weekend. Looked tired. Crazy that he's going to be tired at some point. He is human, everybody. We have to remember that. Tomorrow is going to be, oh, God, it's going to be a nightmare, Judd.
13. So the Wild had 29 shots tonight. If you look at the forwards, 13 of those shots came from the first line. I am looking quickly here, but Boldy had 2 shots. Foligno had 1 shot. But, I mean, it's basically, after that from the forward lines, the shots piecemeal. 13 of 29 shots came from one line, the top line. Zuccarello had 6. I didn't think he had a great game, but the goal was nice. The one goal. And Kirill had 5, and I think Rossi had 2. So, yeah, I mean, there's just a lot to be frustrated about here. And the Jets game tomorrow is, watch them win now, but the Jets game tomorrow sets up to be a drubbing. Unless Wallstedt stands on his head, which I guess is possible. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's maybe the only spin zone here is that they know they're going to be tired, so you don't want to put out grandfather Fleury and net against a team that's more than
no, he can't
stop you.
No, sir.
Yeah, Jesper Wallstedt, and we saw this against the Knights. He was very quick and concise. You could tell he's a young goaltender. He was very rebound control. He was pouncing on top of pucks with zero hesitation. That's what they're going to need from him tonight. But it's going to be a David and Goliath effort. I feel like tomorrow, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to watch the game. Don't get me wrong, but I am going to grit my teeth for that entire 60 minutes because it's going to be painful. If they can shake whatever this is and come out and look strong, then I would love to be wrong. But right now, heading into tomorrow for the second half of this back-to-back, especially now you're going on the road, if I had to give them a percentage chance, what do you think? I would say 18. I think it's that
the Jets are off tonight, correct?
I believe so. They're going to
be at home,
somewhat fresh.
And you're playing at 6 p.m. Central Time after playing. Yeah, I don't like your chances. I don't like your chances one bit. I mean, they put a premium on tonight's game and they lost. And they leave this homestand 1-4, and again, NHL 1 game above 500 at home. Quote from Marcus Foligno postgame, according to Michael Russo of The Athletic. Foligno said, "This is the joy of an 82-game season. You're going to have some losses where you scratch your head. Flat out, we need more goals. We need to step up. It can't just be a Kirill and Zucchi show." Well, let me tackle the first part of that. This is the joy of an 82-game season. You're going to have some losses where you scratch your head. I'm not scratching my head about this loss. Unless you want to talk about 3 hit posts and say that's just bad puck luck, I'm not scratching my head. You gave up another power play goal. You had 5 power plays. You didn't score a goal. I mean, the second part of it can't be just the Kirill and Zuki show is accurate, which is more really the Kirill show. Like let's cut through the truth here. If you had put Boldy there, who knows? He could have looked good too. I mean, he's not playing well right now, but the fact is, it's the Kirill show, and you don't play a forward. When a forward plays the most minutes of anyone on your team, that's pretty special. I mean, that's a so. But I disagree completely. I'm not scratching my head one bit. I'm looking at this loss and saying, oh, it's hard earned. And look, they did. I saw a question about, was tonight's Wild game worse than last night's Wolves game? No, the Wolves didn't show up. The Wolves embarrassed themselves. The Wild didn't embarrass themselves. The Wild is slumping right now, and I have questions about why more guys aren't stepping up. But I don't feel that this team, I don't feel like tonight's game was cashed in. I felt like they did have chances. But if you cannot score a power play goal, and if you're going to give up a power play goal, guess what's going to happen a lot of times? Especially when you have 2 more power plays than your opponent, you're going to lose. So I'm not scratching my head one bit, AJ. I know exactly why they lost, and I know exactly what's wrong, and so does John Hines.
Can I break some bad news to you?
Yeah, of course.
So, yeah, the Jets are off tonight. They were also off last night. The last time they played was a 3-2 loss on Wednesday night to the Ducks in Anaheim, where they recorded 23 shots on goal.
They blew the game too.
They blew the game. They are going to be hungry. They're going to pounce all over. I made the prediction, I think, the last time we did a show here, and I'll do one tomorrow. Kyle Connor scoring twice. Kyle Connor is scoring twice tomorrow night, guaranteed.
Pick him up.
Might have to. I'm not playing fantasy hockey this year because I got.
Oh, you're not playing fantasy hockey?
This is the one year I took off.
I misspoke. You can't. I'm sure he's taken in every league. Okay, but anyway,
he absolutely is. But
take it to the bank. I like it.
But you can trade for him tonight and promise to send him back the next day. He's scoring 2 goals tomorrow. I guarantee it.
I love it. All right, that's enough of the bad news, but I want to talk about some good news because you grill masters out there, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you guys that love, and gals, who love to grill. You know that there is no off-season when it comes to grilling. You know that it is year-round. You go out in the cold and you grill, and you love it just like you would in July. I want to talk to you about my friends at Stoked Barbecue Pellets, company based right here in our fine state. Stoked is the premium pellet that cooks anything you throw on the grill or smoker to delicious perfection. You can find Stoked at all 22 Fratelloni's hardware and garden stores. Perfect for pellet grills, pellet smokers, and really all kinds of grills. Find Stoked Barbecue Pellets, 50-count fire starter buckets, 4-count fire starter bags, and barbecue caddies. I'm going to tell you right now, if you know a grill master, these are all great gifts, Christmas gifts, holiday gifts. If you are looking for a gift, stop in at the 22 Fratelloni's hardware and garden stores, any one, I should say, of them, and pick up something from Stoked. Don't go with the big guys, go with Stoked. Also, check out their stuff at their website, stokedbbq.com, stokedbbq.com. Final thoughts? I've purged enough.
Like I said, I'm dreading tomorrow. Something needs to happen. The good news, I guess, is that friend of the show, Jessie Pierce, she tweeted out a picture of Joel Eriksson on the ice at practice today. Not sure to what extent, not sure how heavily involved in actually, doing drills and working in line rushes, but that is promising because apparently from what we see, that is the, that is the engine block for what this team is missing right now.
I always knew that 2024-25 Jules Eriksson was the equivalent of the 84-85 Gretzky to the Oilers. I always knew that. There was no question in my mind. I mean, they're the same exact guy. All right, we are done. Judd's Hockey Show. He's AJ. I'm Judd. We'll be back on Monday with Jessie Pierce as well. So it might be Christmas week, but doggone it, there's hockey being played, and we're going to talk about it. See you later. Thanks for joining us.